Hello everyone, welcome to Barca News. It is August 17th, 2024, and reports are speculating that İlkay Gundogan could be on his way out as he has been excluded from the squad list for today's match. Also, Benfica could be making a last-minute move for Ansu Fati. And finally, Vitor Roque prefers to go out on loan. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mo, and before we begin with the news, just a quick reminder to make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment. All this helps this channel continue to grow. Also, if you are looking for any Barcelona jerseys or merchandise, make sure you hit the goal kit, skip bag, or fanatics. And if you are looking to place any sports bets, make sure you hit the bet us. All links are down below in the description. Now, begin this video with the news that Barcelona have officially announced the starting 11 for today's La Liga kickoff, which will be between Barcelona and Valencia, which is expected to be a tough match because Mestalla, which is where Valencia plays, or the home stadium of Valencia, is always a tough field for Barcelona. Also, first match of any season is always tough for clubs because they're still getting back into competitive rhythm. And in the case of Barcelona, it's going to be even more tough because, of course, we do have a new coach in Hansi Flick who has yet to implement his full, idea, strategy, tactics, whatever you want to call them, because that, of course, does take time. So it's definitely going to be a tough match for Barcelona. But nonetheless, I'm very, very, very excited for La Liga to start once again and to be able to watch my beloved club, Barcelona, participate in official competitions. Now, Barcelona have released the official starting 11 for today's match, and as you can see at the screen, these will be the 11 players that will kick off La Liga, which are Ter Stegen, Cubarsí, who will be for the first time wearing the number 2 jersey as a first team player, Alejandro Valle, Iñigo Martinez, Ferran Torres, Robert Lewandowski, Rafinha, Marc Casado, Lamine Yamal, Jules Koundé, and Marc Bernal. So we're gonna get to see once again Bernal and Casado in the midfield, and I have to say I'm very excited to see those two youngsters who completely surprised all of us during the preseason. Now, one player that was left out from today's squad list, not from the starting 11 but from the entire squad list, was İlkay Gundogan, and as such, reports are starting to surface saying that Gundogan could be on his way out of Barcelona, and that is why he was excluded from the squad list. But I'm here to tell you that there is no truth to those reports. The reason İlkay Gundogan was excluded from today's squad list is because, well, he suffered that injury against Monaco to his face. As you remember, he clashed with a Monaco defender, and that clash ended up opening a big cut under his eyebrow, like right above the eyelid, under the eyebrow, which was bleeding a lot. And as such, as a precaution, Barcelona have decided to keep him out of today's squad list just to protect the player, because if anyone knows, or if anyone has ever suffered an injury to that area, me doing MMA for many years, I know that this area right here is a very sensitive area. It bleeds a lot. It also gets reopened very easily. So Barcelona didn't want to risk that, didn't want, Gundogan receiving a blow in today's match against Valencia, have the wound reopen, have him bleed again, having to restart all over again the recovery. So instead, they decided to protect the player and not include him in the squad list. Also, it's reported that Gundogan was suffering some headaches as a result of that blow. He even felt dizzy a couple of times during training, and he had to abandon the training. So that is why Barcelona decided to exclude him out of the squad list. It's not because he's getting transferred in during the last moment of the summer transfer market. There's no truth to those reports. This is simply due to his injury, and plus Gundogan's entourage has confirmed that this is why Gundogan has been excluded. So no, he's not leaving. It's simply a precaution to protect the player from that cut that he received against Monaco. Now, one player whose future is still a little bit uncertain at Barcelona is that of Ansu Fati, and now it's being reported that Benfica could be making a last-minute move for the Barcelona player. Now, Ansu Fati did get injured during the preseason. He received that injury to his foot. As such, he had to miss the preseason tour in the USA. He is still recovering from that injury. However, reports are stating that Ansu Fati is very close to recovery. And it's also being reported that Benfica could be making a last-minute move for Ansu Fati to try to sign him during the final days of the summer transfer market. But of course, that move would be on loan because Ansu Fati does have a high salary that many other clubs cannot afford. So Ansu could be on his way out, but most likely on loan to Benfica. And of course, there's still the option of Sevilla. Sevilla have been interested in him this entire summer. Of course, Sevilla's new coach is Garcia Pimienta, who used to be Ansu Fati's coach at Barca Athletic, or Barca B as it used to be known back then. And Pimienta has requested from Sevilla the signing of Ansu, so we could see either Benfica or Sevilla taking the player on loan during the final days of the summer transfer market. Now, speaking of players whose future is still uncertain at the club, we have to talk about Alex Valle, who we still don't know what's going to happen with the player. Now, Barcelona had plans of renewing Alex Valle's contract, but those plans kind of got put on pause during the preseason. Alex Valle does have a clause in his contract that if he's not registered with the first team, that clause would drop to 3 million euros. And as of August 1st, that's exactly what happened. His clause dropped to 3 million euros, which makes him, a very affordable option to many clubs out there who would love to have the services of the Barcelona fullback. And so far, Barcelona have not resumed the talks to extend Alex Valle's contract and increase his release clause. And they're saying now that Barcelona could want to see, the player have more minutes with the first team, see how he progresses with a few official matches. And then based on that, they could either decide, to extend his contract, or maybe Alex Valle ends up deciding to leave. And with a 3 million euro release clause, that would make it very easy for the player to do so. Now, I am curious to hear you guys' thought. What did you guys think about Alex Valle's performance during the preseason? If you were Barcelona, would you extend his contract and keep him? Would you wait a few more matches to see how he does? Or would you completely offload him right now? Let me know down below in the comment section. Now, one player who is on his way out is, of course, Vitor Roque. And we have to talk about the Brazilian because it's reported that he prefers to leave on loan. Now, as reported in yesterday's podcast, or I think it was the video, no, it definitely was the podcast, Vitor Roque has finally agreed to leave Barcelona. Of course, at the beginning of the summer, he was insisting that he wanted to stay because he wanted to prove himself to Flick. But after failing to convince Hansi Flick, the player has now made his peace and has decided to leave the club. However, it's being reported that Vitor Roque prefers to leave on loan, and preferably he prefers to leave to a club in La Liga. And as I told you in yesterday's podcast, Barcelona have offered him to different clubs, including Real Sociedad and Girona. And it's even reported that Real Betis could also be interested in taking the player on a loan. However, this does differ from Barcelona's plans because Barcelona prefer to offload Vitor Roque on a permanent basis. They want to offload him for around 30 to 35 million euros because Barcelona did pay 30 million euros fixed for the player. So they want to recover that investment. So Barcelona prefer to do it on a permanent basis, but Roque prefers to go out on loan. We'll see which one ends up being the case. But one thing that's being reported is that Deco was actually in Portugal this week in trying to find a new destination for Roque, who has not been registered as a first team player, who has been excluded from today's squad list because the Brazilian is on his way out. But of course, the question is it going to be on loan or is it going to be on a permanent transfer? Anyways, that is all the news for this video. I will be doing a post-match live analysis as soon as the Barcelona versus Valencia, or say Valencia versus Barcelona match ends. So stay tuned to the channel. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, and as always, Peace, Barça.